Predator hunting is a challenge that has in recent years captured the fascination of the sporting world. It has experienced tremendous growth in popularity among hunters. Hearing a predator is much more common than seeing one. They're most often heard at dusk or night when they're most active. But by understanding their habits and speaking their language, they can be made to respond in daylight hours. Predators are opportunistic and versatile carnivores with a 90% mammalian diet, but will also attack large animals such as deer, elk, or even livestock. Coyotes are presently the most abundant livestock predators in North America, causing the majority of sheep, goat, and cattle losses. Predators, especially coyotes, have a sophisticated system of communication. And if you can hear their language and understand their language, you can call them right into gun range. And that's what we're going to do here, is to share the tips, techniques, and calls used to make predator hunting one of the most exciting and fun hunting opportunities available. So come along as we share with you mastering the art of calling predators. But before we get started, let's go on a hunt with Randy Anderson and Sean Hayden in Nebraska.
After some lower pitched howls from me, Sean answers like a younger coyote, higher pitched. We're set up in a big pasture alongside a field of CRP, some deep grass where we know there's coyotes. The wind's right to left. Sure enough, this coyote's going to circle downwind. You stop him whenever you want. All right, Mr. Hayden, the first one of the year.
First time.
Yeah, hot day too.
Yeah, it's time to shed a few clothes.
Yeah, I mean, it must be 70. And it's exactly, let's see here. Yeah, I think it's, he come in at, it's about 4 after. We called a little bit more, so probably just right at noon or a little before. He come barreling in after quite a long time of calling. We were about ready to quit.
Yeah, I was ready to give up on that one.
Yeah, he really liked the old ki call. Kind of doing a cottontail or more of an antelope fawn on that thing. But man, it took him quite a while.
Yeah,
what, 20, 25 minutes, I bet?
20 minutes.
Boy, when he come, he come.
Yeah, he come hard over the hill when he come over.
Yeah. Well, you had a 50-50 chance. Is that a male or a female?
It's a big female.
Wow, that's a nice one.
Yeah.
Sean has a little spraying business. He was out here spraying. What are you spraying? Leafy spurge?
Leafy spurge, yeah.
Yeah, on his four-wheeler for this landowner here. And he'd seen a few around. Think you seen that one?
Probably. There was a female and some
I don't know how you tell.
younger ones. Who
You
knows?
coyote's a coyote pretty much. But boy, that's a nice one.
Yeah.
Boy, great hunt. Sean made a perfect shot on that coyote.
He always does. Knocks some babies down. You notice how he barked? He come to a screeching halt and then laid down.
Boy, tell you what, hunting coyotes predators in general is a blast, and nobody knows the coyote's language and predator language better than Randy Anderson.
Oh, I don't know.
I do know about that. And we found out about Randy years ago and got hooked up with Randy, and he has taught us so much, and he's shown so many people how much fun hunting predators can be and how you can really, really get good at it.
I mean, it's funnest thing I do. I mean, I've hunted elk and, a lot of, I bow hunt deer every year, try to shoot 1 or 2 of them, but them coyotes are so, I mean, they're just smart, and there haven't been many studies on them.
Right.
Really, people don't know that much about them. They speak, we talk about speaking a language. They speak such a language.
Yep.
I even, scientists really don't even know what they're saying.
Well, that's really what Randy's specialty was he taught himself how to use the howls to communicate with the coyotes and to make them want to come. And on this hunt with Sean, first y'all started howling.
Right.
And then you went to prey sounds. And most people would have left that setup. How long before that coyote showed up?
It was probably somewhere around 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And we, most people would have quit by then. It's you seen how open it was, and it's just like, geez, you could see for a long way. All of a sudden, when she comes, she was just barreling.
Yeah.
And you don't know when that coyote started, but by howling first, I mean, you're reaching out there 2 miles. You'll see some hunts later on, like almost 2 miles are coming from.
Yeah.
So howling just such an advantage.
I don't know of a state that a coyote population is not pretty heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, all the way from Maine, all the way to the south, southeast, all the way out west. And people ask every once in a while, why do you hunt coyotes? Well, it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's so challenging.
And it is challenging.
It is. Yeah.
Plus, you can help if you have fawns that are getting overrun. And I mean, it's amazing.
I mean, when you see a doe without a fawn, that's usually the reason.
That's right.
Bobcats will kill them too.
Yeah. And in nature, the way it usually occurs is through disease, like mange. And let's take a look at a piece of footage you got of a coyote that you found dead.
Yeah, here's a coyote I found. We were gonna walked into set by these bales, and I kind of got surprised. And I went to sit down.
Well, folks, here's what happens to old mangy coyotes. Nature takes its course here. Just burrowed in here in this snowstorm and died. No hair on his tail. Terrible way to go. That's why we got to keep them thinned out. So hopefully this mange will end someday. Get them healthy coyotes back. Big old furry ones we can do something with.
You know, Randy, we get asked a lot of times, what's your favorite call? What's the most important thing about coyote hunting? And you can put it down every time as what? Set up.
Yeah, I mean, when I do seminars like out in Pennsylvania or somewhere, that's, how do we set up, like out in the east, they always got the Mississippi, and they say coyotes are harder to call in the east and the west. Well, mainly the terrain's different, and there's a lot more woods, and these people are calling them in. I talk to them all the time,
But they're not seeing them.
And they're not seeing them because the old timers, call into the wind. Well, where's that going to put the coyote? Right behind you. The coyotes, they circle so bad. And I've seen them out in Nebraska, and the sand hills start out a half mile in front of you, and we can see them move. It's so open, half a mile over here. And finally, they get right up, and so the setup. Most important thing about the setup is the wind. And
do you face into the wind? What do you do?
I try to. You can, but I learned a long time ago. If I can't see the downwind with the camera, I'm not going to get anything on film. So what I have to do, I have to get where I can turn, and a crosswind is ideal. If you get always into a little bit, but a crosswind from whatever angle, and you have to find a place the downwind is open. Now, if it's in country where there's woods, if you have a little acreage, your food plot you're using or whatever, get to where the food plot is downwind, and then coyotes will come, and they'll just come to the edge, or they'll circle out in it, and then we try to stop them before they smell you. That's what we do. We'll show that later, how we stop the coyote.
All right.
So, but the setup, and so many people, I talk to them, I say, did you really put a lot of thought into this? Well, we thought, well, shoot, this is probably good enough. Well, then they educate that coyote. So all year long, that coyote knows what they did, they heard it, and that's one reason you have more calls, because the next time you got to set in a complete different spot, use a different serenade, a sequence, or whatever. And so it's so important that you do it right first. If it isn't right, you don't do it.
So in a nutshell, if the wind's coming in my face, and I set up like that, the coyotes are going to circle behind, so they're going to come behind and everything. Right. So if I set up crosswind, I'm liable to catch them before they get all the way behind.
You don't have to always set up crosswind, but it seems to work good. Any opening you have, now if it's, say it's a hill, you're out in Nebraska, and them sand hills got all the little module like dunes, with grass on them. You know, kind of like my head used to be. But anyway, anyways, you know, we'll see them coming, and if they start straight out, you know, and if the wind's a little bit this way, they'll go this way. If it's a little bit this way, they'll start off this way. So, you know, so that's why you try to use it, get it in a direction that you can tell where they're going to come. Now, not always, you know, that's one thing we can say. You can't always say always or never on a coyote, because there's always going to be that one that's going to go upwind for, maybe it's an old scrape an old male did and he wants to get around that, or he had a bad experience, somebody just shot at him off the road right there.
And you're talking about a coyote scrape, not a deer scrape.
Yeah, right, coyote scrape. Yeah, we'll see some of them coming up, but that's the biggest thing I'm setting out, like the camo you wear and everything. The second biggest thing is reflections. It is just unbelievable on it. For some reason, if you don't tape your gun or have it camoed, you have a blue barrel and there's a little flash, they stop and they turn around and they take off. Now when they smell you, I forgot to say this, but when a coyote smells you, he's like a bat out of whatever. I mean, he is out of there, and there ain't no stopping him. Now when they see a reflection, it's kind of the same, but they'll kind of more of a bounce and they'll stop, look around maybe. But I've seen them at 500 yards get a reflection and stop.
So a reflection off a watch, off a glass.
Yeah, you try to keep your hat down. And just like turkey hunting, you know, you want your, you know, so many, if it's warmer, so many guys don't wear gloves, but that skin, it's not a reflection, but they can see that. The movement, your body movement is not as much, wasn't factoring as much as what you would think on a coyote. Now we made a video called Bowmania, all bow and arrows. It took us about 3 years to make it, but it wasn't so much the drawn back, it was always that downwind. You couldn't get them close enough to get the shot with the bow. They'd smell you first. Just think if a turkey could smell and went downwind every time, how many would you with a bow?
So you kind of think that coyote hunting is a shotgun sport or a rifle sport?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, the shotguns were good, I mean, but it's so much fun, you know, like being a bow hunter, you've got that little pin, you know, you'd like to get that crosshair right on him and just put that shot, you know, I was a baseball pitcher, so I like to hit the old pud.
Well, let's take a look at some coyotes coming downwind and at your setups and kind of see how they approach you.
All right.
Well, this one's coming in a little bit behind us. He's going to hit our scent. And when he does, you're going to know it. Whoop. And away he goes. Shoot. Here's two old mangy coyotes. Now they're out there in this little dip here, and they're about ready to run into our scent. You wonder how good a coyote's nose is. That little swale out there is about 300 yards. We keep waiting and waiting and waiting, and all of a sudden, there they go, running out of the draw. No way they seen us. They smelled us at that distance. Now sometimes you have to get up and go after him. Now this one, the wind's left to right here. He's going down that little dip. We'll never get a shot unless we get up, so we're trying something kind of impossible almost on a coyote. The snow's crunchy, but somehow we get her done. Wind was right to left here. This one come way around from the left, smelled our shooter here. Shooter's gonna miss and get him going, but old Dave Tatum's gonna lay him down.
So the setup is a big deal.
Right. I mean, that's the biggest thing, you know. And so many guys, they don't realize these coyotes are coming behind them, especially in the woods.
Especially people in the east, because
right.
They're there, they're coming, they hear the sounds, but right. They smell you and they're gone.
Yeah. And one thing you can do, I'll mention, just like a deer, they like to use cow trails. Like out in Nebraska, there's cow trails. They go across these pastures. Them coyotes will just stay on them paths where they can just run across like golf course grass where the cows got it grazed down. But they like following paths. So in the woods, you just set off a trail, 10, 15 yards for shotgun, call. And when you're calling, don't call so much because they'll pinpoint. It's every once in a while. Listen for their old feet pitter-patter down the trail. And you can use that trail and funnel to bring them in and like that. But one thing we notice, when we howl, they don't seem to circle so much. They're more in a beeline, but on distress, as soon as you go to that old distress.
So anywhere you're hunting, if you howl, they're not so much going to try to go down.
Not so much. Every once in a while, but boy, I've had them just.
But as soon as you do a prey sound, a jackrabbit or a cottontail sound or whatever.
Right. They want to smell what they're coming to.